Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 158 of the Hoots podcast. It is Thursday, May 30th, 2019. I almost said March. I don't know. Are we still coming out of WrestleMania season? I'm not sure.
At this point, I don't think so.
It's funny. Like, it's already going to be June by the time this weekend starts. Actually, Saturday, right? June 1st? Or no, tomorrow.
Saturday, June 1st. By the time everyone's listening to this, it's probably already going to be past June 1st anyway. So,
right.
I think we're debating a moot point at this juncture.
Point. Well, that happens on a lot of these shows. Welcome to the program, everybody. Welcome to the program, everybody. My name is Joshi. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Ever have a question, concern, suggestion, anything as far as this show's concerned, or just want to talk in general. I like to kind of stray away from the wrestling conversation on Twitter if I can, because it's just nauseating at this point. But I am open to talking to people. You can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. I also have a music page that I started about a month ago. It's called Josh Lopez Music. You can find it on Instagram. Shout out to everybody that has followed the page already. Last weekend, I did Ladder Alice from Tool. That was a lot of fun. It came out better than I thought it did while I was playing the song. Instagram has this thing where you have only a minute long to record videos, unless you're like making a sponsorship type of commercial or you're a celebrity to say you can upload longer videos. But it's cool. It's a little different project where I could showcase my skills playing rhythm guitar or melodic chords and this and that, do different types of music. You can send me any recommendations. Only thing I ask, and I said this last week, no Justin Bieber music. I'll play anything. Just no Justin Bieber music. And also, let's add Billie Eilish to the list, because I don't want to play any of her songs either. I hear enough of her on the USA Network while watching these wrestling shows. So we're good on that. Let me bring in the good brother, Adam Daly. What's going on, my man?
Josh, what it is, what is going on, everybody out there? Fresh off a root canal. Not missing the show. My weeks are never missing a beat anymore. No, listen. So, and I was gonna. This is a true story. I was gonna make the appointment with Dr. Britt Baker, and I swear to you, I was going to. I live in Pittsburgh. Why not? To anybody that has listened to us for a long time, I decided that was probably not in my best interest. So, but yeah, man, listen, I know there's other people out there listening probably that are the same numbskull person that I was, but it was way too long for me to go to a in between dentist appointments, and they found some really bad stuff in one of my tooths. Is that tooths? One of my tooths? Is that correct? I don't know if that's correct. But anyway, make a long story short, go to the dentist. Don't be a numpty. Go to the dentist once a year. Come to Pittsburgh. Go make an appointment with Britt Baker, DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, winning matches and cleaning cavity or fixing cavities, I guess. But yeah, man. So the root canal was real though. Those things are serious business. Actually, there's no pain at all, so I'm just really just blowing smoke up everyone's ass at this point. Seriously, I actually feel better today than I did yesterday.
Outside the root canal, how you been doing, my man?
Realizing that I've been fighting off an infection for a couple of years of my life in my mouth. You know what? It's busy week, man. I never have anything exciting going on, dude. I'm a dad that's like that everyone says, wow, you look good for 39, which is it's the nice way of saying, oh shit, you're almost 40. You know, like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's been my week. How about you?
It's been. Let's start off with the tattoo shop. So very slow weekend at the tattoo shop while working there. Hope you guys enjoyed your Memorial Day. By the way, let's get that out of the way. Also, like I said, I've been really recording a lot of these covers so I can get some content out of this music page. And a couple weeks ago we spent 30 or 40 minutes of the show talking about Tool and different bands and stuff. And this when I was playing Ladder Alice, just appreciating the just the different aspects of the songs and the structure and playing triplets or this different musical terms that I don't want to bore people with when it comes to that particular song, or this learning their structure and how they go from different scales and this and that. It's just fun. I had a lot of fun playing music. My fingers are already destroyed. You see them here, but I got calluses. They're forming again from playing the strings and doing all the articles that I do. It's been a lot of fun outside of wrestling, out of that wrestling bubble. But you guys are here to listen to a wrestling podcast, right? Well, actually, we're not fully a wrestling podcast. We talk about life, we talk about mental health, we talk about music, try to crack some jokes. Whether they're good or not, that's subjective. But regardless of my week has been pretty good, and I'm in pretty good spirits. I'm excited to go to Orlando in a few weeks for some waterfall adventures, but I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time. But really quick before we get to this week of wrestling and stuff, I wanted to mention a couple plugs here. Like I said, make sure to follow us on social media, but most importantly, make sure to check out the podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or Google Play. If you have Android devices, we're available on that as well. Make sure to support the podcast on Anchor as well, because the show's sponsored by Spotify and a couple different podcasts and stuff. And I've been putting some extra work to expand the reach of the show, and you guys been doing a killer job. We say it every week. We're grateful for the support that each and every single one of you give to us every single week. So it's been a lot of fun. On the podcast this week, we're going to talk about Double or Nothing. We'll have a preview for this Saturday's NXT TakeOver 25 from Bridgeport, Connecticut. We'll talk about what's going on with Raw and SmackDown, as we're about a week and a day from Super Showdown in Jeddah. So we'll get into all the main wrestling topics you want to hear. I know a lot of people may want us to talk about what's going on with the Jon Moxley podcast that he did with Chris Jericho yesterday. I listened to all of it. Here's the thing. I'm just going to be complete transparent with you guys. I think it'd be ignorant for myself, just speaking for myself personally, just to come on here and just say everything that's on my mind coming out of that podcast. Just listen to it one time. I think a lot of people were ignorant and just very self-righteous in their takes towards CM Punk when he first did his podcast with Colt in 2014. I'm not going to come here and say a bunch of things or call Moxley this or that or whatever, or say stuff about Jericho while that podcast was on. I need to listen to it again to get a better context. It's just too early for me. I know it's something that a lot of people will talk about on their show to get clicks out of it. I just want to have a genuine conversation about it with context instead of just blabbering my mouth with no substance behind it. So that's my stance on it.
Well, fortunately, there's somebody on here that has the balls to say what Josh Lopez doesn't have the balls to say. No, listen, I didn't hear the full interview yet, but I do want to at least I read a brief transcript of part of the conversation, and I think that we should, and this isn't a snap judgment. This was me kind of reading and just kind of thinking, okay, I know everybody's going to want to pile on one end of it where it seems like he's burying the company, and it looked like he even made a joke about it, okay, I guess now we're going to bury them, but at the same time, he did praise and thank the company for the opportunities that he got. The opening up his mind, almost he kind of grew up in front of us, and I'm sure when he spoke about the Make-A-Wish Foundation and different things of that nature that he got to do, and or they're asked of them. And you see how important charity work is, and these types of things. So I don't think it's anything where he was really trying to, and again, I want to hear the actual full interview, and I don't think, I don't want to go one way or the other, but I think this is just, it sounds more like it's probably more of a, hey, this is how the two places are, and this is just my preference. That isn't everyone's preference. It just sounds like, there's some people that are a little bit more creative, and when we talk about Double or Nothing and things like that, we'll get into that conversation. Yeah. But I just think that it really reminds me right now of the private and public sector in the work, just in real life. And like I always say, we need both. We need both to be functioning successfully. And that's why and some of us operate better in one, side of it than the other. I
Right.
absolutely am better in the private sector. 100%. I don't fit in that 9 to 5 box. It's not me. I like working, I like working at midnight. I like working at 2 a.m. I like being rewarded for my work, So I also like, people trusting in me to have my own creative liberties in an industry that I really don't know that much about, and seeing results pay off. You typically don't get that when you're in the public sector. So I personally would absolutely, if right now, and people would say, oh, you're crazy and you're just saying this because it's hot and you're saying this because no, I absolutely understand the difference between what AEW has and what WWE is, or what they both are. And I just think that there's a little bit more when you're a creative person and you can kind of go that way. So I don't think it was Moxley, trying to bury WWE. I think he was just kind of trying to help promote AEW in a certain way. And that's what I'm going to take out of it when I listen to it. Maybe when I listen to it, I'll have a different opinion. But I do think a lot of people were probably just transcript readers on this one, like I was, saw a couple quotes and then kind of ran from that, where I did read a little bit more of it because I wanted to get somewhat of as much of a objective standpoint as you can get, without actually hearing it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not looking at it in any way anymore. I think it's good when wrestlers voice their opinions. I think, hell, I praised Ryback for doing it a couple years ago, and I still do to this day. So why wouldn't I for John Moxley for doing it? Cody's done it. I think that, love him or hate him, and Punk obviously didn't, do it the right way. But he definitely did. He's been the sacrificial lamb to open doors for other superstars to be able to voice their grievances post WWE in a more diplomatic way. So I mean, I'm not taking anything out of it other than, hey, this is why I left. Here's some funny stories. We always love the funny stories anyway. It shouldn't affect us personally. Again, if it affects you that much, then don't watch WWE. Don't give Vince your money if he bothers you that bad, But other than that, yeah, I guess that's where I stand on it. I don't know.
Let's try something in 2019. Let's actually apply execution to the things that come out of our mouth. If you're gonna do something, actually do it.
Right.
It happens all the time. I'm gonna stop watching wrestling, but I'm gonna subtweet it when I watch something else. Like you're not doing what you're saying you're doing, because it's like the thing with like a girlfriend, right? It's kind of different from marriage because you have more longing like relationship with them. But let's say like it's like a girlfriend you like hanged out with for like, I don't know, 3 months or something. You thought it was gonna happen. You thought you guys were gonna have a longer relationship. She changed her mind. Something else happens along the way. Yada yada. Oh, I can't stand her. Yada yada yada. I'm never gonna think about her again. But like every other Facebook post you make is about her or some type of reference to her.
Right.
Like you got to be consistent in the claims that are going to come out of your mouth. I understand it's part of life. People are hypocrites in a lot of ways. They say one thing, they do it. Yeah, so
all of us are.
I'm not expecting anybody to be perfect, but it would be nice for society to be a little bit more consistent when it comes to these big claims and things they want to do. But anyways, I want to put a ribbon.
No, that you're correct. Yeah, people do. The problem with today is that people either stick by their they find that hill and they'll die on that until whatever, or right. They change they pivot on a dime so much, like so quick, and they change their mind so rapidly with whomever they're speaking with. There's no real, I have no problem with, and I actually think it shows great growth when somebody changes an opinion because they've become more educated on it, whether it's, right. I agree with that opinion, right or wrong. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I think when somebody is human enough to say, you know what, I used to think this way, but I educated myself more, and now this is why I think this way. That's fantastic. But we don't do enough of that. It's either, right. Here's been my initial opinion. I'm rolling with it, or I'm just gonna keep flip flopping to whatever's popular at that time. And that's not a, there are no. I don't say there's no. That's a broad paintbrush stroke that I don't like using, but the majority of thinking now is following one of those two patterns versus thinking, digesting, and forming your own.
Right. All right. So one thing I want to mention here as we wrap up talk about this, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about my thoughts on the actual podcast as a whole, but there's something I want to touch on what you were saying earlier. Like I always say, you got to be the authentic product that is yourself, and I understand that sometimes in situations, some people that you work with want you to compromise your integrity just to fit in or whatever. I'm not wired like that. Neither are you. Like people are different in that way. Some people are. Maybe some people want to have that part, and you gotta do your own life. You gotta live on your own terms, right? But here's my thing when it comes to the podcast. Like I don't know why we have to take each of these sit down interviews and put them on trial and dissect every part of it, because we're getting a story of one person's experience in a corporation. Now, you got guys like Cody Rhodes, a CM Punk, a Dean Ambrose, whoever, they're in the same tier of performers, right? And the saying, the more people talk about this in the same type of deal, I guess this adds more to the credibility of whatever assumptions you have about WWE and their creative team. Cool, I understand that point. But also, it's different from hearing a Dean Ambrose story to somebody else that probably wasn't treated the way he was.
Right.
Like, we're not behind there. I never worked in the wrestling business. I'm not going to put words in people's mouth or they went about this the right or wrong way. I need to experience that for myself before I say that this person was wrong and how they handled their situation. I mean, cool for them. They want to share their story with their fans. I have no problem with that. But as podcasters and fans, we shouldn't feel like we have to dissect every aspect of those podcasts or put them on trial or make it the biggest thing ever. This is a guy's story. This is what happened. He said that he wanted to be more creatively satisfied than worry about money. I think that's cool. Leave it at that. We shouldn't have to make it bigger than what it is. I guess that's my bigger point.
And you know what? I think the reason why I enjoy anytime they have the sit down podcast like this, and it doesn't have to be somebody that just left the company, even if it's somebody from 10 years ago. I love hearing about the creative process and what went through, what didn't go through, or how they had to tweak it or adjust it or compromise, and it's not to be in the know, and it's not to be a smark, or it's not to be anything like that. It's just, I find the creative process of entertainment so fascinating. And I remember trigger points of when Ambrose made the comment about Reigns having cancer, and we talked about it on the show, how, it was kind of a sensitive thing, and hearing, he wasn't really too happy about it. Now it's interesting, it's not going to make me enraged against the WWE. It's not going to make me dislike their creative process. It just helps us understand the creative process a little bit, because let's face it, it is one thing when your own talent's going, Vince, we have sponsors, but on the flip side, taking not just with the Moxley interview, but with other people, I just like hearing that. I think that's one reason why I love being the elite so much, is because they will show you, they're not afraid to pull the curtain back. And I don't think that's killing the business. It's actually, I think, inspiring more people to want to be in the business, and whether that's WWE or not. Because again, public-private sector, there's nothing wrong with working in either. Jericho talked about it on Busted Open Radio about, he could have went back there and kind of, known what he was getting into. There's still going to be younger guys that are, or people that don't want to deal with the creative side of things. Like, you know what, feed me the lines, let me do my work in the ring and go home. There should be an avenue for both. There should be an avenue for the creative, the creative mind, and an avenue for the mind that kind of, and I hate to say needs to be told what to do, but would rather be guided. And that's why I hate that there's any negatives or positives or I told you so's or whatever's out of these, any of these, I guess, I don't want to call them confessionals, but conversations, or, when we get to hear the road stories, that's what intrigues me more is the creative process, how it gets through, why it doesn't get through. and not who shot it down or anything like that. I don't care. It's more about where could they have gone or where were they going to go? And that's my own sick, twisted creative mind, honestly. But it really is. It's just a fascination with how entertainment is made and how they wanted to connect with an audience. And, I've always been intrigued by that. So that, to me, it's more about that than it is the gossip. I think that's why I've never put any of these on trial. The Punk one, like everybody, I got wrapped up in, like everybody else did. And we all went way too overboard with the Punk Cabana sit down. But since then, I feel like we've handled all of them pretty well. But you're right. I don't think they need to be put on trial. They need to just be taken for what they are, a story, but something to just kind of really make you realize what it is like working for that company. And not that it's a bad company to work for, not that you shouldn't work for that company, not that, but just it kind of gives you an understanding of what you're getting into. It's a very structured entertainment company, and we've known that,
So we're wrapping up the month of May, right? And it's Mental Health Awareness Month in May. They celebrate every May. Buried Sigma. Make Chester proud. All the good hashtags out there. Shout out to Mauro and Now, by the way, spreading the good fight. I always say this, man. If you haven't had the opportunity to watch Mauro's documentary about his life and the struggles he went through, it's really some powerful stuff, man. No matter what the symptoms is that you're dealing with internally, whether it's depression, like chronic depression, whatever the case is, don't feel like you can't say anything to anybody. I say this a lot as somebody who's dealt with depression. It felt like I was the only person that existed, and like I sometimes like I felt at times that I didn't even matter to the people that mattered the most to me. But things happen, and a lot of situations you can't control when it comes to people that deal with mental health issues. Everybody goes through it and they have their own process. But as we're wrapping up this mental health awareness of, again, feel free to go to somebody that you trust the most and talk. You don't have to reveal everything that's going on with you, but I think some weight will be lifted off your shoulders if you actually talk to somebody and express what's going on with you personally and internally. Unfortunately, it happened a couple weeks ago, but unfortunately, Ashley Massaro passed away at the age of 39. She was turning 40 this year. Actually, her birthday just passed about a week ago, which is so odd in the timing of this, which makes it really, really sad. But here's the good part about the wrestling business too. So a lot of Ashley's friends from the business and Lillian Garcia started this GoFundMe account to help pay for Ashley's daughter education stuff for college, because I think she's 18, something like that right now. But anyways, they're raising money to help pay for Ashley's college fees, and I think that's awesome. And it's cool that the wrestling community and the performers and fans can come together and do something like that. Like this poor girl at the age of 18 lost her mother like that, and it's unfortunate. It's really, really sad. So mental health is very important to myself and Adam, and a lot of people. It's an issue that doesn't get talked about enough, especially from a mainstream point of view. If people look down on you for whatever thing you're going through, just toughen up, be a man, yada, yada, yada. You hear it all the time from narrow-minded family members. Live your life on your own terms, but don't feel like you always have to put yourself in a shell because you feel like people just gonna lash out to you. You never know if you don't say anything.
Well, I think another thing about mental health too is don't be, because this is something that we all carry with us, whether we realize it or not, but we're creatures of habit. We fear change. Everybody does. And you should embrace change, embrace that spiral, going out to all my Tool fans out there. But change can be scary. Change can be, but over, you look at the past 5 years of my life, I had to change careers. I had to make a lot of life changes. I had to, not only for my health, but personally. And I am absolutely a much different person now than I was 5 years ago, for the better, especially when it comes to, mental health issues and different things like that. So Don't be afraid of change. Change can be some of the greatest, one of the greatest forms of medication that you can have. So, that's one thing that to tell people out there. If you don't like your life, then change it, man. If you're complaining all the time, something's wrong. Change it. And I know change is scary. Change can be absolutely frightening, especially in certain situations. But listen, I feel like Marty, man. All my friends are dead. But you can't build an empire if you're a part of a club. So my point is that obviously reach out, talk to people. Those are all important things, but understand that you also have to make life changes also. I mean, that definitely comes with it, and it's going to be scary and sometimes tough, but that is part of the healing process, man. And I do think that people will listen. We were joking about the root canal. It took me 20 years to go to the dentist because I was so stupidly afraid of a dentist, and all I had was like 3 cavities, and they told me I brushed my teeth too hard, and obviously a dead tooth that was causing a lot of problems. Thankfully that's taken care of. But besides all that, that plays into the mental health aspect of it though too. Afraid to go, afraid to change. All of a sudden my health is just going down the hill, and then you look in the mirror one day and you realize, oh, something's got to change. And then I go to the dentist, all of a sudden I'm feeling great about myself. Sometimes again, change is good. Stay healthy, routines. These things are all important to a healthy lifestyle, not only physically, but mentally. Like Josh said, just as important is having someone to talk to, whether it be professionally or just somebody that you can trust personally, that will give you an unbiased opinion versus enabling your behavior. So,
Right. Fear is something, man. There's,
ultimate judge of character, Lopez. It truly is.
It is, and there's not a book or a book of they have those specialty books for dummies when it comes to like certain jobs or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You don't have a book for dummies to handle depression or just like that. Like
right.
It's part of real life, and I think anybody can overcome anything that goes in front of them. It's just how they go about that situation. That's true character.
I'll actually go a step further for you, and there is a book that I just took from the library here locally that I'm going to read. It's called "Are You Okay?" It's brand new. It's by Katie Morton, LMFT. It is a guide to caring for your mental health, how to know if you need help, and where to find it. It's a fantastic read. It talks about everything from parenting to personal self to physical stuff to relationships to past demons to you name it. It's a fantastic read. Go out there and get it. It seems like she is a pretty established writer here. I don't know how to like really put an author over, you know what I mean? Like I put over wrestlers, not authors. Right. But yeah, no, dude, listen, it's a good book. There you go. There's your mental health awareness read. Everybody has a book club. There's my book club. It's called Are You Okay? Katie Morton, Kati.
All right, folks, let's get into wrestling, shall we? The wrestle, the graps, all of the wrestling turns out there in the world. Double or Nothing went down this past Saturday, MGM Grand Garden Arena. We're both going to talk about our experiences watching the show, what we thought about the pay-per-view in general. I have a little different experience than Adam, and for anybody that's wondering or thinking that I'm just going to come on here and trash Double or Nothing, I think you got me wrong. That's a big part about society. They always got to make assumptions about shit, right? No, you'll hear my thoughts as we go and talk about this, but we're going to talk about Double or Nothing as the show and what we can see coming up next. I know that they announced that All Out is going to be at the Sears Center. I'm happy that they're coming here for Chicago again because that's where they had All In. But also, I was kind of hoping they would go to a different venue, but that's just me being the Chicagoan to me. But I'm glad they're bringing that pay-per-view here in August, right? August 31st?
August 30th or the 31st? 31st is
Labor Day weekend, okay?
Yeah, I was going to say it was September 1st last year, the day before August 31st, yeah. Mm-hmm. There wasn't no leap year this year, so.
No leap year. All right, brother. We'll start off with you really quick. What did you think about Double or Nothing? What stood out to you for that show?
All right, I'm going to preface this by saying if I slip and call it All In, I apologize, guys. It's just one of them things where, like, you know what I mean? Again, there's a million things going on. So if by mistake I call it All In instead of Double or Nothing, just relax. So with that being put out there, okay, so I will admit the viewers in my house, AJ and I, thought that, and I'm not speaking for her, but I was pretty excited for this going in. I thought AJ was going to be super excited for this and less excited for TakeOver. And I'm not comparing, just relax, guys, settle down, I'm telling a story. It ends up that, AJ just wanted to check it out, see what AEW was going to offer. I think like all of us, right? I mean, we're talking about a little 9-year-old over here, but not over here yet. Her segment's coming later on in the show. And then we're talking about us as the older, grizzled wrestling, marks and, all that kind of stuff. I went into it with a different mindset. I think that maybe some people went into it. I don't know what mindset people went into it. So here's just, I guess, I kind of went in with the mindset of, okay, let's look at this like a wrestling pay-per-view. Like, you knew that there's going to be a little bit of a special vibe to it because it's the first one. But let's really just like look at it as a wrestling pay-per-view. I wasn't trying to think of it as AEW. I wasn't trying to think of it as WWE or not WWE or nothing like that. And whenever it was done, and we'll talk about the mark out moments and this and everything, and like what we thought the good, and and if we have any criticisms, those criticisms, whatever, we'll get to all that. But at the end of it, I truly felt like, hell yeah, I just watched a wrestling pay-per-view. And that is, and I know everyone's like, well, of course you did. But here, what I mean by that is, whenever I'm done watching WWE, as much as the internet bashes it or loves it, or this person hates it, or whatever, I'm always like, all right, yeah, hell yeah, it was a good pay-per-view, because I know I know what you're usually going to get out of it. This felt like a big time pay-per-view. And I don't mean like a WrestleMania. I don't mean like, what I mean by that is this felt like it could be a monthly thing. Now, you're obviously not going to have all the surprises. There's certain things they're not obviously going to constantly pull out on a month-to-month basis or even a bi-monthly basis, unless they really start expanding and signing people like crazy, which is, you never know, a possibility. But with all of that aside, I stepped away from it like I normally do. And don't get me wrong, I was super geeked about it. Like, I mean, I thought it was fantastic, and we're gonna get to the fanboy stuff here in a minute. But just the overall observation was basically like, hell yeah, and not in like a finally or it was just like, yeah, this was very satisfying. Like it was an excellent show. And we'll break certain parts down, and I really think that they're onto something. Like I really, it's nice to see a bunch of young, hungry guys that, again, aren't afraid to put their creativity out there and compromise for each other, with each other, against each other, to help each other and put trust in one another, and still come off with a show that good, regardless if it was their first one or not.
Right.
It was fantastic. And I think this is something that is going to change I hate to use the term, but this is going to change the world, but change the industry a little bit, because again, this is going to give people that were frustrated with the industry, it might spark their love for it again. And that's not negative against WWE. It really isn't. But there is a lot of people that, so there can be that alternative they were looking for. And I think WWE knows that having an alternative really only helps their product out too. There's a system, there's cogs there. It's more structured. Not saying AEW isn't, but corporate versus a little more private. We'll get into it. Long story short, I was very pleased, and there was a couple moments where you got emotional for these men and women, you know what I mean? Because you could just tell how not only emotional they were, or how they got caught up in the moment, or how they realized that this is going to be something big, I think there was a couple people that got caught off guard. So overall, I thought it was fantastic. And I'm not trying to fanboy it over. I'm not trying to be super Mark. I'm not anti WWE. I'm not trying to put one company. No, I just as a fan, this was a fantastic 4 hours. Fantastic.
So before we break down matches and stuff, I wanted to make sure that everybody knows where I'm coming from. There's a lot of things that I missed from a live aspect of the pay-per-view because, well, internet didn't want to be my friend on Saturday night while I was watching the pay-per-view, which sucked. So I got through like the first 3 matches of the show, and it is like cut off completely. Like internet, my house went out, the cable went out. It's been raining a lot in Chicago recently, and I feel like Mother Nature is just upset at us. Like she's just taking out all her anger on us this entire week. This nonstop downpouring. I was telling Adam about this when I was leaving the shop the other day. Like literally, it was raining so much you would think you were on a set of a freaking chick flick. That's how much rain that's been going through the city recently. So I didn't get to watch the moment where John Moxley showed up live as it happened. I didn't get to experience that as the crowd was losing their mind. And for me, that really sucked. It didn't affect my view on the show. And overall, for me, I thought Double or Nothing had something for everybody. And that's the main takeaway that I had from the pay-per-view on Saturday. It kind of reminds me of the pay-per-view that Impact Wrestling did last year called Redemption. I think it was Redemption, something like that. It was at the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto, and it was something where not a lot of people watched Impact recently, and they had new management. This was their first pay-per-view since Don Callis and Scott D'Amore were running the company, and they had to switch to Anthem. And they just had a killer show, and it was something for everybody. You had different styles of wrestling matches. You had different people that maybe you've been familiar with from different promotions that showed up on that pay-per-view. And like I said, they had something for everybody. I thought production was really good from top to bottom, just going in and out of different matches and stuff. The video packages were really good. What else really stood out to me? I just thought the overall vibe of the show was pretty cool. I know some people are kind of ribbing AEW for having the old school Impact Zone tunnels they had on the stage on the right hand and left hand side of the stage. I thought they looked cool, actually. Maybe that's just me. I thought the stage looked cool. It was a fun show from top to bottom, despite the fact that I had to stop watching the pay-per-view live as it was happening. But we'll get to the matches in a couple seconds. But that was my overall thoughts on the show.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you said, other than I didn't, my stream didn't cut out. However, I will say this. And as we're breaking down these matches, I'm just going to throw a couple out there real quick just to get them out there. But past couple weeks on the show, because at first I didn't, we're going to laugh about a couple weeks ago when we thought it was $60 now. Like, it was like, what? Like, just, kind of just joking about it. And then we talked last week about it being only $50. And everyone's saying, oh, what's the $10 price difference? Whatever. Get over yourselves. But I'm going to be honest. This is something that, and again, now I know that I would not be able to, and this is where WWE in a way has a slight upper hand, because $10 a month is much easier for a family or for parents or for whatever, you know what I mean, to digest, or for single parents or for whomever, than somebody just in their 20s, you know what I mean, that all they have to worry about is themselves and, that kind of stuff. But AEW's target audience seems to be that 34 to 18-year-old demographic, though, too. So it could work out to their favor. Now, all of that, I don't know what, the angle is. Maybe the pay-per-view rates will go down. Maybe something's on the horizon. Who knows? But I will say this, regardless of it all, I can name 3 matches instantly that were worth $50 right off the bat. Cody Dustin was just that alone was worth my $50. Jericho Omega, absolutely worth my $50. Bucks Lucha Bros, absolutely worth my $50. You know what I mean? And when I started breaking down the card after I watched it a second time through, and I was like, wow, man, like this was worth absolutely every single penny that I talked about. Like, because I think they realize that in these days, $50 is a lot to ask for, especially to get that common wrestling fan back in, grow the company hoping to get some of the old, the old fans maybe back into it while grabbing on some of the new fans. But to be fully transparent, I absolutely thought it was worth every single penny that I spent on it. And it's rare that you get that with a lot of things these days. So tip of the hat to AEW for that.
My buddy Jonathan Hood from ESPN 1000 got to do a recent interview with JR after the pay-per-view was over on Monday, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Something like that. And by the way, you can listen to his own podcast, his Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday with Jonathan Hood. You can find it on your podcast, Google searches and all that good places. But anyways, Hoodie was talking to JR, and he said that the guys, in particular their commentary team, had different roles. Obviously, JR is still the play-by-play guy. Excalibur is the ex-wrestler who still adds some insight. Even though there was parts of the show I thought he was doing most of the play-by-play, or maybe it's just the one thing with their first time calling the show together, you're cutting people off. And that's how they'll get better as time goes on. But here's my thing. And I have no issues with Alex Marvez or whatever. I understand what his role is. JR said it on the podcast with Hoodie. So basically they want Alex to be like the Jay Glazer of AEW, kind of like the insider, or having different things that's all the behind the scenes stuff, or like promoting what's going on. Here's a better example, a better comparison. They want Alex to be like the Don West of their commentary team, where you're hyping t-shirts, events coming up, etc., etc. I understand his role, and I understand it's the first time he's doing it, but there's parts of the pay-per-view I felt like I was watching I was hearing a telethon while I was watching a pay-per-view. It was kind of distracting at times, where at times I felt like he was practically verbally on his knees begging to reach out to the people that are so upset with professional wrestling. Oh, my old professional wrestling's gone. Hey, it's back. It's back, everybody. It's back. Like, I got a lot of Don West vibes from Alex Marvez while listening to the show. Maybe it's just me. I felt like I was listening to a telethon at times, and like I don't know. It's kind of weird at times hearing him.
Now, and you know what? I'm going to say something that I hate saying because of the special place in my heart for this man. But, and I'm not saying any decision is right or wrong, or any opinion is right or wrong, but I love the commentary team. I really do. I love the commentary team. One thing I noticed, and she actually brought it up when we were watching it, is like my daughter isn't down with JR at all. And right. I think it's just the way that he, and I think he'll fit into his role a little bit more once he's more familiar with everything and you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I think it's that there is a generational thing. I mean, obviously she's still very young too. That's like, you know, I was different at a young age when I was listening. Well, she dissects the product too. So it's, you know, I shouldn't say that, but I think because he is so old school, we appreciate him and we love him. And I want him on every pay-per-view, but I see where there's a generational gap. And I don't want to say, you know, I understand why WWE doesn't have him, because I don't, but maybe that's why, you know what I mean? And I'm listen, that's not a knock on JR at all. Please, I don't want anyone to come out of this saying, oh, I'm just saying that, like, maybe that younger generation, you know, we get to a certain point where I loved John Madden. And it wasn't because he was a Raider. I loved John Madden doing Monday Night Football. Or calling Sunday night games, or whatever games he was at, wherever he was, anywhere like he was phone in. I loved hearing John Madden call a football game. But then it hit a certain point where a certain generation just didn't like him. They didn't get him. They didn't vibe with him. And that's not anything against John Madden. It's just perception, and perceptions changed. And maybe that is, you know, it definitely had more of an old school feel to it, like the pay-per-view in general, I'll admit. It kind of did feel like I was kind of sucked back into like the early 2000s in a weird way. But that would be the only, and that's not even a criticism, that's just more of an observation, you know. Right. Because there is no real criticism there, because JR is the king, you know. And I'm sorry, Jerry Lawler, but you know, JR is the man when it comes to that. When it comes to the commentary table, and but it's interesting to see him not click with, somebody my daughter's age or whatever. And it's not, again, it's nothing JR does. It's just there's a certain point where, how's that old saying go? Evolution just passes you by.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with sticking to your thing, but I do think JR could incorporate a little bit of newness into him. Some people overdo it. I think I'm trying to think of who gets criticized a lot for maybe going to the well too often for current events and that kind of stuff. Maybe JR needs a little bit more of it,
Well, here's the one talking point from JR that I didn't get, and this happened during the Lucha Brothers Young Bucks match. He's like, "Where's the respect for tag team wrestling?" Okay, maybe you don't see it as a big a spotlight on Raw or SmackDown, but NXT always starts their pay-per-views with their tag team matches. Impact just had their last pay-per-view be main evented by a tag team match. New Japan puts a lot of emphasis on their tag team matches. There's respect. There's just not a lot of people talking about it. There's a difference. There's other promotions that don't have, obviously, the penetration or distribution levels that WWE has. But even then, how many times you watch a TakeOver and everybody says either the best match or one of the best matches on the show is a tag team match, right?
Right, true, absolutely. We talk about the War Raiders all the time, or the Viking Raiders.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. I'll say this though, really quick. I want to give a shout out to Conrad Thompson again. Again, pretty cool that he's having these wrestling conventions and they're going off without a hitch. There's no fights. There's no nonsense. I haven't been to a StarCast yet. Maybe I'll go this year, but when they come here for All Out weekend,
I really like Conrad Thompson.
I've actually got to interview Conrad before on the old radio show. He's a really, really good dude.
Yeah, seems like it. I'm really happy to see all this success that he's been having.
Though the interview I did with Conrad was 5 years ago when he was doing the Ric Flair podcast. So it's been a while since I talked to him, but he's a really good dude. Also, I wanted to mention, if I had the opportunity to interview one person out of anybody that was involved that weekend, it would be Tony Khan. I heard him on Busted Open Radio. Now that you can actually listen to their shows on Apple Podcasts, which is pretty cool now. They have a podcast version of the show instead of you having to be forced to pay for Sirius XM. I don't have Sirius XM in any of the cars I ride in. I don't have a Sirius XM account, but anyways, he was on Busted Open. That's the one dude I would like to interview. That dude's a wrestling fan through thick and thin, and he sounds like an interesting dude. I would like to interview him. I don't know.
I'm trying to think whose brain I would love to pick. I don't want to go with any of the obvious ones that people would really.
Michael Nakazawa.
Michael Nakazawa. I don't want to try and go with somebody like a Jericho or a Punk or a Marty or Edge or somebody that everybody would already know that I would want to pick their brain. I would want to pick somebody's brain like a somebody that's always been like a Sami Zayn, to be honest. Somebody that has lasting power, that it's not about the championships. It's about entertainment, and it's about putting other people over, and it's about just helping to make the industry a better place, leaving an industry better than when you got in there, and not having to have all the hardware to back you up on it. I think that's why Owen Hart would have been a fantastic, when Sam and I got to interview Jimmy Corderas, that's why I thought it was one of the greatest, still one of the greatest moments, as far as my, if not the greatest, but my media life, and I use that term very loosely, just because of how down to earth, a veteran has seen it all, and just how down to earth and knowledgeable, and just being able to just pick his brain. It's just, you learn a lot, Like I said, just briefly talking to Jimmy Jacobs one time, you learn so much just if you absolve and just think about what hear people, So I would like to interview somebody that's just been around, like a Ty Dillinger or a Sean Spears rather.
I would talk to Arn Anderson.
I'm with Daniel Tosh. You never trust Arn Anderson. I I hope somebody gets that
I got it.
yearly reference on Tosh. Managers, I'd love to sit down and talk with somebody like like a Truth Martini. I had a brief conversation with him before, but I know there's a lot of stuff going on with Truth, but just voice boxes that have been there for a long time. Just
Carino.
Oh my God, yeah, Carino would be. That's just learning and learning and learning and learning. Gabe Sapolsky. I would love to have just pick his brain for a half hour. It's just I don't know. It's a lot of times it's not the people that you would always think. It's sometimes it's the people that have really been there that really get it.
Right. Let's talk about the show, man. I have a couple of things that really stood out to me from the shows. First off, the Battle Royal was pretty funny, man. This is stuff with Dustin Thomas, the guy who had his legs amputated. He had some pretty cool spots. I'm an MJF mark now, even though you probably wouldn't want me to.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've been on since the beginning of the year. I've been on that dude's nuts. Now you understand.
Maxwell Jacob Freeman, that guy is a trip, man. And by the way, go check out his interview with Chris Van Vliet, man. That stuff's pretty funny. He orders himself his own breakfast while the interview's going on.
That's fantastic.
Him just like stomping the shit out of Dustin Thomas in the corner, just getting heat the entire time. Here's the thing, like, you were talking about you were watching the show and it was just a regular wrestling show, right? I felt that the same way while I was transcribing the show. I wasn't looking at it and thinking about, oh, this is predictable, blah, 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 or anything like you hear on any other wrestling show, right? Like, I just watch it and what happened. And I thought it was all good business and this and that. One of my favorite matches of the show was the first one, the SCU OWE guys. That match was freaking insane, man.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like
talked about that.
I felt like I was Sonic the Hedgehog trying to get these freaking tag team like double team moves and all this shit that was going on in that match. It was insane.
And you know what? I think that's something we talked about the other night. That'd be a great way to get the crowd, like, fresh into it, start with a hot match. We kind of figured it was going to be a lot of quick tags, quick moving moves, that kind of stuff, quick spots. Loved it. Thought it was great.
Well, what do you think about the new rule where in tag matches you get 10 seconds to do double team moves before you have to tag out?
Yeah, I thought that's what they were saying. I dig it. Yeah, and I'm open to change. And as long as the ring stays four-sided. The only change I'm not okay with is like when they go with the six-sided ring or let's keep it. It's a squared circle.
Yeah. All right. Here's where I'm the party pooper, and nothing that really bothered me personally. I didn't love the Cody like smashing the throne thing. I didn't get anything out of it.
I loved it.
I didn't.
I marked. Totally marked out. Because Brandy gives off that Stephanie vibe anyway, right?
I don't think she does.
I think a little bit. If Stephanie were allowed to swear,
I think that's selling her short. To be honest, with you.
Oh, I can see that. Okay, I can see that.
I feel like Brandy's more of her own individual person, and Cody is at times trying too hard to either be like Triple H or be like the opposite of what Triple H's perception is as an executive. It didn't bother me or anything. I just thought it was unnecessary. Like it was like, just do your entrance, dude. Triple H has nothing to do with your match that you have with your brother. Absolutely nothing.
Well, nah, you know what?
There was nothing he said in the promos besides him wanting to kill the Attitude Era. You have to be more specific. Is your issue with your brother killing the Era or Triple H holding you down?
Well, but you know what though? Here's where I got to put it into objectivity. If this would have been CM Punk 1 year after leaving WWE, busting up Triple H's throne like that, we would have looked like that meme of Stan's father on South Park in front of the computer. And you guys all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So I think a lot of times it's not for us to know. And maybe it was you know, we never heard anything about Cody and maybe some things here or there or whatever, but that was Cody just being a man and keeping it close to the chest. I loved the symbolism with Brandy kind of going underneath, getting the sledgehammer, kind of staring at the sledgehammer, and I don't know, I really did. I totally dug it. I totally I loved how he said like that we're wrestling's royal family. Like, you know, it's and I think that's what they're kind of, even though Vince isn't really the white collar guy, Vince is still a blue collar guy at heart. I think you look at the McMahon family is the white collar family, and you look at the Rhodes family as the blue collar family. And I think that's how wrestling fans will always look at it. And I think that was more of a play into that than anything else.
Well, if it was just a response to Triple H's references to AEW during their Hall of Fame speech for DX, then that's fine. I could.
Well, I also think though too that,
like I said, it didn't really bother me. I could have done without it. That's all.
Well, you know what? I actually think, see, for me, part of that is the fun of it, because then it instantly became, okay, well, I wonder if WWE, it was like a game of Edge and Christian, like, will WWE talk about it? You know, like, seriously, it's the first thing that was talked about was like, wow, I wonder if they're going to like say anything. And then here we go with Sami Zayn saying something, you know, obviously like bringing it up, not that particular thing, but name dropping AEW on Raw. So I guess what I'm saying by this is, I also think we live in an era where people aren't as sensitive to little jabs and little ribs like that, right? So in the end, it does make it funner for us, because obviously you're indifferent on it, which is absolutely cool. Some people probably hated it, which is absolutely cool. But for those fans that love that, they want to feel like there's that competition, right? Or like, so the next night on Raw when Sami Zayn drops, just says, you could have asked me about AEW, and everybody goes nuts about it, like, because all he's doing is he's showing you how easy it is to manipulate a crowd, and this is the kind of battle that we want. So I'm totally okay with it. Like, I think that was almost a symbolism to say, we're coming for you in a way, like, you know. And so if that was the message, or whatever the message was, no, I got, listen, I loved it. I'll admit, I popped pretty hard for it.
Here's where I'm going to be consistent when it comes to this whole topic. Like, at the end of the day, I could give two shits whether they have a battle or not. I really don't, because I'm gonna watch both shows as
Correct.
it is.
Correct.
So I whether they want to make their marketing or their shows about, oh, we're coming for events, I really don't care. I'm still gonna watch the shows. Just put on good shows and I'll watch it. I really don't care about the war or manufacturing a war that's either going to happen or not going to happen. Or as you said last week, they should worry more about NXT than just Raw or SmackDown. Like, I know a lot of people from the Attitude Era and that era lost, and it was the greatest thing ever for wrestling fans during the Monday Night Wars and stuff. I understand that. It's not I don't have a interest in having competition. More wrestling is cool. Leave it at that, though. Like, I don't care if you're having a war.
You know,
I really don't.
Don't you think it's a little bit more fun though when, you know, they say the things that are allegedly taboo, you know, like when they sneak little things into either Balor or AJ Styles when somebody's cutting a promo on them. They say, we heard about your little club over in Japan, you know, and you know the whole crowd goes, oh, you know. I think it's little things, and I just think now we're putting a magnifying glass on it because of the success of Double or Nothing, and because of the desire, I think, for a lot of wrestling fans to have not so that they can not watch WWE, but having that, like you said, having a second, you know, huge product and an alternative, having more wrestling companies, we all win, especially when they're all successful.
Right.
I do like that. I like that poking fun at each other, because then that does set up the, you know, you can't have it, but damn, wouldn't it be great? You know, wouldn't it be great to have Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega right now? Can't have it, but it would be great. You know, so, and I think them kind of mentioning each other is really only helping each other, you know, especially in today's day and age. You know, maybe not 20, 30 years ago where you don't talk about your rival, or you don't talk about any other company, or you don't talk, you know, you can't do that today when everybody's in the know and there's the internet and there's, you know, it's whatever. I'll admit, Josh, and maybe it's just me because I'm still that little fanboy that's like, ooh, they said it, you know. I'll admit, and it's probably just me, and I'm probably just over making one moment in an entrance out to be more than it is, or maybe I enjoyed it, you know. But I just thought it was a cool way to say, hey, listen, we're here, and we're you know, maybe not we're coming for you, but like I said, like I think they're in more competition like with NXT than they are with the main brands. Maybe there's your shot at Triple H because he runs NXT, right?
Right.
So, but I also want to preface that by any of this by saying I absolutely think that if and when Triple H saw that, there was part of him, you know, that loved it deep down, that you know that Triple H, Paul Levesque, the guy, the renegade that really always wanted to, you know, deep down, there's a part of the rebel in him that loved that.
I feel like the bigger thing that should come out of his match is the match he actually had with Dustin in the moment after the match, as opposed to his entrance stuff.
It was awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything should be talked about, though. Yeah, correct. Everything should be talked about, especially how bloody Dustin was. But no, everything. The promo after that was just like Dusty and Dustin from WCW years back. I mean, just the overall emotion in the match. Brandy getting kicked out, Earl Hebner being involved. I mean, it was one of those matches that drew actual literal emotion. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I swear it wasn't me, it was you. So if you guys know what I'm talking about. So AEW hit, you know, there, and you're right. I think too much focus. If that's the case, because I'm not online, if that's the case to Josh, and that's all anyone's talking about is the entrance, then that's an even bigger disservice to this match, because this match was, a show stealer.
Another match that really stood out to me was the Fatal 4-Way match where they brought in Awesome Kong for the ladies. I thought that was pretty cool. No further announcements as far as whether they're going to start their tag divisions or women's titles. I think that'll come out as we get closer to the release or their debut on TNT later on this fall. So we'll see what happens when that goes down. My favorite match of the show was the Lucha Brothers against the Young Bucks. That's right up my alley. That match was freaking insane. I think Matt Jackson did like a brain buster on the top turnbuckle, which was freaking nasty. I love the Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks match. They could wrestle each other 20 million times and I'll watch it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, no, it was great. They're looking to bring back tag team wrestling and put a spotlight on tag team wrestling, and I think they're going to do a good job with that, because this match was fantastic. And they are telling little sub stories too. There was a lot that they were telling about the Jackson brothers that I think that a lot of people should be paying attention to, which I'm sure that we are, because we're all smarks. But the Fatal 4-Way, dude, I'm not gonna lie, absolutely loved it as well. Kong coming out was a fantastic surprise. Funny, last week we said that we should have a female, a surprise female entrant, just, or somewhere on the card, just like with the men. And we got that. We got a female debut. We got a male debut. And so they, again, talk about running on all cylinders, but the match for me, I think that stood out. There was just something special about Cody and Dustin, there really, in my opinion, there was. And all the matches aside, I think one thing that is really getting overlooked is MJF. It's funny that, and again, I don't know, I'm not online, so maybe more people are talking about it, but not one person that's talked to me about AEW yet, like that's reached out to me or like whatever. Nobody's brought up the fact that Bret Hart was the one that came out that, like, think about this. Bret Hart is debuting their championship. And MJF comes out and cuts a promo and not only brings up something happened on WWE Hall of Fame, right? But says some pretty vile things that are very pushing the envelope type of stuff, getting mega heat, super heel type of stuff. And it's working. Like, this kid is, and I hate to use the term kid because I use the term kid on people my age too. But I think MJF right now is absolutely the future. I really do. So my favorite segment, I'm going to say MJF, just because I thought in a card full of fantastic matches, MJF was still able to stand out himself. And I love the fact that it was able to bring out Jimmy Havoc then too. You know what I mean? Jungle Boy. It's just, some of the other characters that we know and performers that we know are going to be focal points at a certain time.
let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up and talk about Jericho against Omega. How did you feel about Jericho's new finisher, and what did you think about the stuff that Moxley did to close out the show?
Okay, so I should rephrase this. My favorite part of the show is Chris Jericho's entrance.
That was pretty cool, man.
Ultra Mark. Is this where I go Ultra Mark?
Yeah.
Because this is where I go Ultra Mark. Okay, so listen, Jericho Omega was fantastic. I really like the new finisher. It adds an extra impact finisher for him, you know. So now he still has the walls, but he can throw it down into a lion tamer if he needs to. He's still got it, and his code breaker is so much different when he can use it in a New Japan or or like an AEW, where you know he can make it look a lot more vicious, man. They just sell it a lot better. So when you set, you know, when you're setting that back elbow up or the Judas effect with a code breaker, it's a pretty nice combination. Again, I think that with his entrance, it was kind of like there's where I was in all of these organizations. Now this is what I am now. You know, this was the introduction into the new Chris Jericho, and totally dug the promo afterwards. And I don't know, man. When just being fair, it's been a long time since I've heard a pop or a crowd go that insane until they realized, you know, Moxley was in the building. I mean, that place went like it was bananas, man, bananas, like crazy. It was one of those moments that you get caught up in so much. When you watch it back a second time, you actually are like, wow, like it was. And these are all the elements that a company like this needs to really launch itself off the floor. It was #1 trending and everything, but dude, this was. I thought they finished the show off with the right match. They finished the show off with the right debut. Keeps getting lost on people that Ambrose used the AA or the FU on Kenny Omega, if you will, to make his AEW debut. It wasn't lost on me, but yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I hate to sound like that I'm gushing over this pay-per-view, to make it but I am. But I'm not making it a them versus WWE kind of thing. They're going to have two different playbooks. It's like, the Raiders have a different playbook than the Chiefs do. Some years the Raiders are better than the Chiefs. Obviously it hasn't been the Raiders as of late, so that was a bad analogy, but you guys get where I'm coming from with that. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking it for what it was. Like it was great, man. It did feel like you were a part of history, and I'll admit that last match did feel it really did have that big fight feel. Plus, you put that up there with there's only a handful of fighters that have really headlined MGM Grand, non-UFC. So put in a couple boxers, Jericho, Omega. I mean, maybe WWE once. Was that where they had WrestleMania 9?
Caesar's Palace, right?
Caesar's Palace. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it was much better than WrestleMania 9. So,
the funny thing, I wasn't even born for that WrestleMania. That's the messed up thing.
No, you weren't. And I was watching it through squiggly pay-per-view lines, listening to commentary.
Was that the one JR debuted with the toga? Is that the one?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because Heenan was still there. That's where he was like coming out on the camel, like was like gripping onto it, like laying on it backwards and stuff. And I think that was Macho Man on commentary too.
Yes, he was.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Okay. All we have to remember for that WrestleMania is that Undertaker fought Giant Gonzalez and Hogan screwed Brett before Shawn screwed Brett. So
yes, yeah, I hated that. As a little kid, I hated that. I was so mad.
Let's be factual, folks. Shawn didn't screw Brett. Hogan screwed Brett.
Yeah. No wonder why I took a couple year hiatus from wrestling for a minute.
All right. As far as my thoughts of the match, I thought it was pretty cool. Obviously their first match at Wrestle Kingdom was awesome from top to bottom. Obviously, you see all these different sequences and stuff, and I just gotta say, man, Kenny Omega is just the man. Just in general, good. He's fantastic. The way he goes about I guess the timing of when he uses his V triggers is what I enjoy a lot, and he talks a lot about it in interviews that it's kind of like the video game effect, where I hit you and you lose like a certain percentage point, kind of like the WWE video games, right?
Right.
You're losing stamina and all this stuff. So I appreciate Kenny Omega and the way he structures his matches. So I just wanted to say that really quick. As far as the stuff with Moxley, here's the thing, man. It sets up a lot of different feuds down the road. It doesn't have to be one thing. It doesn't have to be just Moxley versus Jericho. It doesn't have to be just Moxley versus Omega. Here's Jon Moxley. He's out of his mind. He can do whatever the F he wants, and he better not be in his way. That's what I took away from it. So
right.
I thought that I thought it was pretty cool how they had that and how they closed the show and all that good stuff. So overall, man, Double or Nothing was cool to me, and we'll see what goes on next. I know their next pay-per-view, I think it's Fight for the Fallen, which is at the amphitheater outside of the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's gonna be pretty cool, man.
What's Moxley's shirt say? It says unscripted violence, doesn't it?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, so. It's a good one. It's a nice shirt. Great tagline.
He said this is one spoiler I'll say for the podcast. So he said that he spent $8,000 for the trailer that he put out the night his contract came to an end.
Are you serious?
So he mapped this whole thing out where once the day was over, that midnight, he had somebody like time out the tweet. Like you could do that. You could like preset a tweet, which is kind of odd, but whatever.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, you're just scheduling it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So overall, man, Double or Nothing, some good stuff, man. Really quick, let's preview. We don't have to make predictions if you don't want to, but let's talk really quick about what's going to go down this Saturday for TakeOver. I heard Triple H had a pretty eventful conference call yesterday. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I guess a lot of people peppered him with questions about AEW and all the stuff going on. So we'll see. I got to listen to it because I don't know about you, man, but I actually enjoyed the Triple H press conferences, conference calls, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's the same thing. But I got to check that out. Anyways, NXT TakeOver 25 coming up this Saturday in Bridgeport, Connecticut. 5 matches on the show per ritual for NXT TakeOver shows. We have a fatal 4-way match for the vacated NXT tag team titles. The Viking Raiders, they relinquished the titles, obviously, since they made the move to Raw. So it's going to be the Street Profits, Red Dragon, or Undisputed Era. I'm going to call him Red Dragon. I'm sorry, guys, NXT fans. I'm not into Undisputed Era. I'm not. This faction needs to split as soon as possible. It just does. You can keep Fish and O'Reilly as a tag team. I like Roddy Strong. Some people don't. And of course, me and Adam are big Adam Cole marks, but still, the faction's not doing it. It's just not. But you have the Undisputed Era in that match. You have the Forgotten Sons, and then who else? Oh, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. So fatal 4-way tag team ladder match. Oh man, the calamity and destruction that go on this match, man. I have no idea what's gonna go down here, but I'll go with Undisputed Era here.
Yeah. Well, let's make it easy. I haven't seen her programming in a while, so yeah, we'll go Undisputed Era.
Next one, Roderick Strong against Matt Riddle.
It seems like they're gonna run with Riddle for a little bit, so I'm gonna go with Riddle.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Roddy. I don't know if he's going to go up to SmackDown or Raw soon, or here's my suggestion. Have Roddy be part of 205 Live. That'd be my suggestion. Just an idea. It's not only small guys or guys that do flips on 205 Live. They have good technical wrestlers on that show. I think Roddy would be a good addition to that brand. And he's already made a couple appearances on that show anyway, so that's just my idea. Velveteen Dream putting his NXT North American title on the line against Tyler Breeze, who's now back on the NXT brand officially. So Velveteen Dream against Tyler Breeze.
The Dream does not recall. No, I don't know, man. this is one. I guess I have to pick a winner here. I don't know. I'd like to see either guy win, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
It really doesn't. This is one where I just want to see a good match. We'll go Velveteen Dream just for, I guess, because we have to pick somebody. Yeah, I don't know. Let's not over dissect this one too much.
Right. I'll say this. I'm pretty excited for whatever entrances they come up with, and especially with Tyler Breeze having the NXT TakeOver entrance this time, I'm sure he's going to go all out. So that should be pretty cool. Next one, ladies, Shayna Baszler against Io Shirai.
I'm actually, oh man, I want to go with Io Shirai, but I'm always wrong when it comes to Shayna Baszler matches. But I'm going to go with Io Shirai on this one.
She is good. Io's crazy. I didn't know this. I think Shayna Baszler is your age.
Is she?
I could be wrong, but
what the fuck is that supposed to mean, man?
No, not
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me. Hey. What was that supposed to mean there? You know, because everyone tells me, "Oh, you look good for almost being 40 years old." Like better watch it there, young buck. All these young kids in the business today, killing it,
pal.
Coming for you, Arn Anderson.
Can you do a Jim Cornette impression or no?
No. I like Cornette though.
Goddamn motherfucker!
Yeah, I can't do any impressions. I don't.
That goddamn Vince Russo.
Yeah, I doubt anyone's listening to us for my impressions, because if they are, they would have given up a long time ago.
Long time ago. All right, I'm gonna go with Io too. I think it's her time. I think with it being the 25th anniversary, they're gonna want at least one title to change on the show. So I'll go with that one. All right, main event: Johnny Gargano against Adam Cole. No stipulations. This is just a straight up title match. Who you got in this one?
Oh man. You know what? I thought they were going to give it to Cole at the last one. Maybe they're saving it for 25, because they were showing a lot of, like, in the video package, not, again, overlooking things as always, but in the video package that, just showing certain takeovers and certain champions who wanted those certain takeovers,
Right.
I think they're just kind of showing, that there is a changing of the guard happening. That's all. So I think this is where it becomes the baby era, if you will. And it's not undisputed anymore.
I'm in agreement with you, good brother. I think that's going to happen. Here's the thing, though. I know you haven't had a chance to watch any of the NXT shows leading up to this show, but with it being the 25th anniversary, what's like your favorite TakeOver match or moment?
That is a wide open question there. Trying to really think. What, like, if I were to pick one, it really had to be all about just always the anticipation to see what Balor's next entrance was going to be, and
right.
how they were going to one up it, and how could he do it better than last time, and how, I know they're kind of keeping it pretty standard now that he's on the main roster, and it's kind of like one maintained thing, but. And I know it's not a moment as in a title change or a match or, but I just think from a creative and artistic and a production side and in the presentation side, the takeover where he had the other fake Finn Balor's like kind of rising from the smoke before he did, or they just had other people dressed up, in costume. That I thought that was just amazing. And I thought it was just. It's that creativity that sometimes it's that creativity that you would get in, and here we go, guys, in AEW, in maybe somewhere else, but you only get that typically at WrestleMania, right? It's rare that you get it, on a WWE pay-per-view, but at takeovers, you always kind of have some sort of unique entrance at one point or another in a show. But Balor's were always my favorite.
Balor's entrance for NXT TakeOver London with the hat. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, Jack the Ripper.
That was one of my favorite Balor entrances.
And can I use the black? I like the black mat. Is that fair? Can I say that? I've been saying that for 5 years now.
You were the first one hitting that up when they were first doing that.
I love I think the black, and I get it. The gray is more traditional. It makes it, I get it, boxing and everything. It's just traditional, whatever. But I just think there's something that's so sharp about the black mat in a ring. I don't
know. For me, my favorite moments are match wise, but there was one moment though. The Kevin Owens turning his back on Sami Zayn the first time on a WWE platform. The way they did it to it was NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. It was that weird, like it was supposed to be Revolution, but you get the point. The way Kevin Owens closed the show with Sami Zayn and doing that heel turn. Kevin Owens is my current favorite WWE superstar right now. So to see him when he had it was literally the night he debuted in NXT the same night. So
yes, it was.
That one really stands out to me. Another one, Pete Dunne against Tyler Bate in Chicago for the UK title. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen in person. So that's one of my other ones. And also for TakeOver New Orleans, Aleister Black against Andrade. That one was sick.
Yeah, that was good too. That was.
Mm-hmm. All right, so before we get through the eyes of the 9-year-old, we'll have that to close out the show this week. I wanted to mention this couple stuff that happened from Raw and SmackDown. First off, R-Truth, man. Oh God, I don't know if you saw the promo he put on Instagram or whatever, with him having like a desert background and he's singing the song about the 24/7 championship. Did you get to see that?
I have not.
It's hilarious, man. And he's still calling it the European Championship too, which is awesome.
I love it. I love that he's calling it the European Championship.
I don't know how you felt about it, but I thought it was kind of cool that they actually inserted the 24/7 title not only with a major talking segment, but also the main event of SmackDown this week.
Yeah, no. Listen. Ugh. No, I mean, in a bad way. I'm just trying to think about how I want to put this so that, people don't try and take it one way or the other. I'm still leaving it open, my mind open, or staying open-minded about the 24/7 championship. I'm already hearing complaints out of my 9-year-old going, how come none of the women have had it yet? It's like, it's only been on 4 shows. Relax. Like, let's give it time. But, but at the same time, it's cool that it was Elias's first title. Again, does the title mean something? Some wrestlers say yes, some wrestlers say no. I don't know. Nobody really knows. You know what, man? I'm still like how you're indifferent towards Cody's thing. I'm kind of indifferent right now towards the 24/7 title. I almost feel like maybe it was forced into the main event because it's been taking so much ridicule. But at the same time, I don't know. I think Truth is right now making the most out of it. In fairness, I mean, I really do. He's making the segments at least worthwhile. I don't know, man. I'm giving it some time. We'll leave it at that.
I don't know. I just think with the stuff with Drake Maverick putting posters and keep running after the dude, and I guess the timing of when they come in and start running after him, like after matches. I think on Raw after Seth Rollins was talking to Brock Lesnar, they had them running after R-Truth. It's just some funny shit, man. Especially with when he carries Carmella on his back and they run out of the building. That shit's hilarious. And I remember we were talking about it last week with Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. Oh, you could just dropped her? Oh, really, Saxton? Man, I was talking about this with Derek the other night, man. Graves and Saxton banter on commentary is the best thing as far as commentary is concerned. I love it, man.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're I don't think people realize how good they are going back and forth.
What did Grace say this week? Oh, I remember this because he is putting over Mandy Rose. She's on the new Muscle and Fitness magazine, right? And
his Instagram post was amazing.
I saw that. That was pretty funny. So Saxon's like underselling the magazine. Oh, it's not a big deal. Blah 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 blah. Grace's like, your parents don't even have a picture of you under fridge. They don't have a framed picture of Byron at their house. I thought that was a good line.
Well, of course they don't. Listen, you know what? Raw and SmackDown. Let me take this out. Speaking of the great Corey Graves, Sterling, if you will. Yep. Let's spin it to the electric chair, a segment that I don't think people gave enough credit for because I don't think people knew what to do with it. But at the same time, I think Sami Zayn was trying to tell people what to do with it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, man? Do you think it's going to be a thing that they keep doing, or are they going to keep feeding him lines? Is Izzy somehow going to keep changing teams? You know what I mean? Like she went from Team Bailey to Team Alexa, now she's Team Becky, right? That's the same Izzy, right?
Izzy.
That Izzy?
No,
that wasn't the same Izzy on Raw.
No,
I was going to say, Jesus, is this really working for them by now? I thought it was okay.
Actually, she's training to be a wrestler.
Oh yeah, she's doing indie stuff, isn't she? Yeah.
So that's cool that she has all that passion and stuff. That I hope it works out for her. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. I actually thought that's who it was, though. That's why I thought it was great when Sammy was like, "Your parents are doing a horrible job."
Right. Well, what about the timing when she's like, "Duh."
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Awesome. Here's the thing, like, I don't mind that they're having the crowd interact with them. Here's my thing: if you're gonna like come up to an audience member and you're like say, "Hey, you're up next," or whatever, right? Because I don't think it's just anybody. Like I'm sure, like the announcers are walking around the aisles and they're like, "Hey, who wants to be part of this?" Right? Like people have their hands or whatever, and they'll just pick randomly. But here's my thing: like for anybody that attends these shows, I want to hear from the Nimrods that act like they're having to record a wrestling podcast while they're at a live show, and then have Sammy bury them accordingly to what that segment is supposed to be. That's what I want to see. Like the one question the guy's like, "Oh, how does it feel when Braun Strowman beats you up?" Right? And then Sammy's like, "Well, I like to jump over the barricade and beat you up." And I thought that was fine. Him doing that segment particularly, and the fact that Graves has his own talking segment on Raw, I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
It's something that could do going on with other superstars. But if you're going to have Sami Zayn out there, for example, have it be like those guys that were behind you and AJ when you went to that Raw. I want to hear him rip those Nimrods. Right. That would be my only suggestion for that particular segment. But I liked it. I didn't hate it or anything.
No. I think it's gonna grow. I think once people catch, I hope they stick with this for a little while because I think it's got some breathing room. You know what else we need more of? We need more time to party. And I don't mean any kind of party. I mean a Brock party, baby. I ain't talking Shark Party like on Anthony Jeselnik's show, which is still amazing. But I'm talking about a Brock party, baby. Was that not the greatest thing? And you didn't want Lesnar back. And you did not want Brock Lesnar back. We would not have gotten Brock Party, baby. How great was Brock Party? Do you see Rollins in the ring couldn't even keep a straight face?
Right.
This dude, I was laughing this entire segment. And then later on in the show, he's like, "You mean I have an entire year, Paul?" And he's like, "Leave him out." This was fantastic. And if people didn't enjoy that, you need to like start laughing a little bit in life.
Right. The thing that got me was the paper slap. Once he found out that that was my favorite part.
Slapped him like he wanted to duel him or something,
Right. Seth Rollins, screw you. Oh man.
You know what? Going back to the Sami Zayn. Go ahead.
The second Rollins Brock Lesnar talking segment on Raw, that's when Rollins started to really get pissed off. Like I know you were talking about like the first segment he couldn't keep a straight face and whatever. He was trying to be like, but oh man, there was some people mad that there was a lot of talking for the first hour of the show for Raw this week. People, I don't know what they're trying to expect from Raw. Like I put this out the other day. If you really expect to have an actual response from a Monday Night Raw to a company's inaugural pay-per-view, you're already having a losing battle. It's not gonna go your way. It's just not. But
it's comparing the Grey Cup, the Grey Cup championships to, for all of you that don't know, that's the Canadian Football League's championship game. Right. The Grey Cup championship to a regular season NFL game. You can do it, but why? It's a game between the Raiders and who else is really, really bad? Historically, the Bills. It's the Raiders and the Bills. I mean, you're not really gonna, and they're playing in week 4. You're not really gonna say, hey, so about that game between two teams that haven't made playoffs in 37 years. No.
Here's an example: you comparing the Flash to the Dark Phoenix movie that's coming out really soon.
Yeah, 2 totally different things. Correct.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix actually looks good.
All right, back to the Brock party though. You're right, brother. They got me.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Too. Hook, line, and sinker, man. It's some funny shit though. I always say this, man. I always give credit where credit's due, even when I'm proven wrong when it comes to certain like performers or whatever. I gotta give credit where credit's due, man. The dude's doing some funny shit, man. And everybody's like, oh man, it's just gonna be Brock and Seth Rollins. Seth's gonna lose in Saudi Arabia, yada yada yada. Can we wait till we get to the show first before making those assumptions? Like, jeez.
And it's funny, and that's the thing. It always has to. Anytime we get something good or different or enjoyable, and when we're laughing in the moment, 10 minutes later, it's instantly, well, where are they going to go, or how are they going to screw it up, or how are they, instead of just letting it happen. It's always the negative mindset going in is already you're putting a layer of okay, they have to show me, versus going into like say an AEW's Double or Nothing, where we went in saying, okay, I can't wait to see what they give us. You know what I mean? And I don't.
Yeah.
It's 2 totally different mindsets. We're expecting excellence out of one and hoping for excellence out of another.
And that's always been my issue with wrestling fans. Double standards for different shows.
Correct.
Watch a wrestling show for what it is. It's a wrestling show. Whether you like it or not, go that way. I hate double standards when it comes to different shows. Whether it has to do with behind-the-scenes politics or not. If you're going to rip company for one thing they do here, you don't for another company because it's different and yada yada, whatever excuse you want to make, it's just not cool, man. It's not cool.
Listen, there's backstage politics in every job, anywhere, any career, anything. Mm-hmm. It's just not called backstage because not everything is, well, all the world is a stage and we are just the players, but not every job is an entertainment form where we can say, well, backstage, doesn't matter where you're at. You could work at a newspaper, you can work it in sales, you can work in real estate, you can work in wherever you work. It doesn't really matter. I'm sure there's a layer of favoritism or office politics or whatever the case may be. It's just dirt sheets like to take one grievance and make it seem like it's the end of the world, so then fans grab onto it when it could be somebody saying like, hey, the air conditioner could be like 2 degrees colder in here because a lot of us are complaining. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, WWE employees are saying it's an unsafe work environment. Like that's exactly how these dirt sheets twist stuff, guys. It's like somebody says, hey, can we put the AC on 68 instead of 70? And it'd be like, oh, the demand has been that, and cost, and WWE said that and there would be these big elaborate bullshit stories of like, no, it was one person just saying, hey, I just got a question, and that's it, and that's what the sheets do.
Let's give a shout out to Baron Corbin picking up that big W on Monday Night Raw, the Fatal 4-Way match. Baron Corbin will fight Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship at Super Showdown a week from tomorrow. Shout out to Corbin, man. He got his pop from his hometown crowd. Corbin's killing it, man. He just is, man.
Been having a good year to year from like last Mania to this Mania. Can't keep saying it enough.
I thought Miz did a really good job in that match as well too.
Yes.
What else stood out to me this week? Again, I love what Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are doing on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Especially that little backstage segment they had with Ember Moon. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that too. Yeah, it looked like they're trying to make them a little more cohesive now again. Maybe make them a force in the tag division. I like the breakdown between Charlotte and I can't think of her name right now. And my daughter's gonna kill me for it too. The sassy Southern Belle, Lacey Evans.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I don't get into the whole Southern women thing, but
I'm a classy lady. These nasties.
I lived in the South for a little while. I know what.
Hitting too close to home, as Sami Zayn would say.
All right. I lived down there for a couple of years. I've experienced it. So,
all right. One more question before we bring in AJ. Would you be opposed to Finn Balor making the heel turn?
Never. No.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I say never, I don't mean never heel turn him. No, absolutely. I would absolutely be behind a heel turn. Now the thing though is that I'll admit my answer for everything typically tends to be turn them heel. Not with everybody, but I do tend to go to that a lot because
natural born healer.
Yeah, it's my thing, man. I just. But you know what? That's also probably me. I think I just know how to get under people's skin well enough that I would just be a good heel. So I think the answer to everything is to be a heel, and you get results.
Trust me, brother. I can relate.
In the business, hey man, in the business world, sometimes you got to listen. To get results, you got to be a dick. So unfortunately, it's the way it is. That's why I think a heel character for me would be very natural. But with all that being said, no, man, I'm open to it. I'm absolutely open to it. Is there talks of that or something or?
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't look at the rumor stuff anymore.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I need to treat my sanity well, if you know what I mean.
yeah. And honestly, I wouldn't if that's on the horizon anyway. I wouldn't want to know about that because that'd be a nice little surprise. Because that literally would be from out of nowhere, just because of the amount of merch he sells and his whole gimmick being how over he is, or he's over and Vince doesn't think he's over and all that kind of stuff. So.
They're doing this cool thing where they're bringing Kofi Kingston to Ghana this week. He's actually there right now. They're shooting a documentary about him visiting Ghana as the WWE champion. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's very cool. But they don't do any good things.
Right. It's all horrible from top to bottom.
Terrible. And they don't care. They don't care about diversity or culture or their talent or the history of the talent. They don't care.
No, not at all. Vince, well, this one statement is true. It's Vince's world screwed everybody else.
Yeah, that one you kind of can't argue about. It is. That's why he called it a universe. It's his own universe, and you're not going to convince him otherwise.
Yeah, we're playing in it.
Right.
Yep. Right. All right. Let's get this bad boy going. Let's get through the eyes of a 9-year-old. But before we do that, let's hear a quick message from another podcast that you listen to right here on Anchor. All right, here we go, folks. It's time week, the best segment of the week of the show for the Hoots podcast in general, and the best wrestling segment in all of podcasting right now, through the eyes of a 9-year-old. How's it going, Miss AJ?
Hello, I am very happy to be here. Hello, I just got done working at McDonald's. Thank you for saving me from the sloths. Thank you. They are just a bunch of sloths that haven't taken a shower in weeks. Thank you for saving me.
All right. We're not coming here for that.
All right. All right, brother, the floor is yours.
No, all right. So there are some things you want to talk about this week.
Yes.
So you've been waiting. You've been dying.
So number one, I want to take questions first, like always.
Okay.
Go ahead, Josh.
Questions from the media with AJ. All right. First off, here's my question. I forgot to mention this while we were talking about Raw and SmackDown this week. What did you guys think about the Firefly Funhouse this week?
You could have asked me about AEW. No. I love the Funhouse this week. It was very good. Mm-hmm. Yes, I like the evil clown look with the face. I like it.
All right, here's my question for you, AJ. Would you rather him do more vignettes, or you like to see him be in the ring or in a feud right now?
I don't think a feud right now, but I feel like maybe let's wait maybe a month or two for maybe around SummerSlam. I want him to be in ring.
I agree. There's no rush to get him in other feuds that have nothing to do with his character right now. Plus, here's the thing with Bray right now, especially this particular character. He could go after multiple people. It doesn't have to be just one person, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about AEW. How did you feel when you saw Awesome Kong come out?
I was very excited and happy. And also, something that I want to say, since we've been bringing up AEW.
She really wants to get this in. This has been like, I've heard this 60 million times this week. Like,
yes. So
I know it's like to be a band and you have to play the same song every night, and then you stop playing a song, and the fans are like, "Why aren't you playing the song?" And it's like, because I've had to do this every day for the past 20 years of my life. So I've heard this about 6 times a day since. So,
all right. AEW stands for Attitude Era Wrestling. It does not stand for All Elite Wrestling at all. Not at all. That's fake. Those are liars.
So now let me put some substance behind what she's saying here.
Okay.
All night during the pay-per-view, I had to listen to this. Just really feels like old clips of the Attitude Era. So I do find it somewhat ironic that the Attitude Killers put a show on, and again, it's my 9-year-old versus, but I you know what, to her credit, it did have that late 90s, early 2000s feel to it.
So basically, AEW put on a show for everybody that says they want the Attitude Era back, right?
I don't necessarily want to say that, but I mean, that's kind of what she was kind of vibing with all night. I mean, and all week she couldn't wait to tell that joke. So I hope you guys enjoyed it out there, because I've heard it now. It's going to be on our greatest hits. So I'll be hearing this till the day that I die, less than 10,000 days from now. So
I have to look back at the tapes for our old podcast and just make a CD of AJ's greatest hits. You got some good liners, girl.
Thank you.
Don't inflate the ego already.
Thank you. I bet I'll be a Hollywood star one day.
Oh, jeez.
You will before Brother Carter will, so.
Well, he's going to end up in prison before anything else. Speaking of, was there a moment of Jericho this week?
Unfortunately, no, not this week. I'm sorry,
good.
Everybody.
Good. He got preempted for AEW.
Yeah. A lot of things got preempted for that. All right. Before we get to the closing end for your segment this week, AJ, what else stood out to you from Double or Nothing?
So I also do want to talk about Raw for a minute, but something else that I liked in Double or Nothing was, I want to mention 2 entrances. Okay. I want to mention Jericho's entrance first because it was better than the next entrance. I loved his entrance. It was very good. And then I also wanted to point out Cody's entrance.
You liked Cody's entrance?
Yes, I did. I liked it a lot.
So what did you like about both entrances that, why did they stick out to you? And you really like Cody's music too. Yeah. You really dig his music, but
yes.
His thing sounds awesome.
Oh, it really is too. But so and you can talk about whichever one you want to first, but what really made why did those 2 stick out to you?
Okay, so I'll talk about Jericho first because I think his was better. Okay. So I liked it a lot because it was like some of his favorite Jerichos that he did.
Do you think that was his favorites, or do you think that was the crowd favorites?
Either that, or he was just going through different, like, maybe decades or something. Something like that. I don't know. But honestly, I really liked it. I did. I really, really liked it. And then Cody's entrance.
Which is your favorite Jericho, real quick?
Probably from WWE, probably the list.
No. Okay, I'll give you the list. Okay, yeah. So that's from, but all from WCW. You've seen enough Jericho now that you know.
Yeah, I liked his whenever he debuted a lot, but my favorite is probably
now. The evil Jericho, the Alpha.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
The one that comes up to Judas. Yes.
I agree completely. I think right now, and I
like that.
I always say that about Jericho, though.
I like that he comes up to his own band as well. That's very good. He could probably never do that in WWE.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Okay.
One thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
One observation I wanted to say, like in WCW, you had the list of 1,004 holds. In WWE, he had the list of Jericho. Do you think you'll have a list this time for this evil character or no?
Maybe down the line. I don't think you want to go to it too quick because then people.
You don't have to rush it. It's just something I was thinking about.
Maybe, yeah. There's a definite callback, like trilogy that he can make out of it. One for each company.
Right.
Now, Cody's entrance. What did you like about Cody's entrance?
So Cody's entrance I liked because it looked like that he was very much named Triple H a lot. Number one.
Right.
I will get to the first thing. I liked how he came out dressed up as Hunter. What?
Yeah, he did kind of have the Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah.
You mean a Hunter Hersty Helms Hershey? How do you pronounce that? I'm not sure.
You're burying yourself before you can even get hired with the company. Remember, he's going to be there for years when you're trying to get a job there. So
you won't care. You won't care. He's not only 9. Haha.
Oh, I fear for the future.
One more question for me, AJ. Do you think Brandy will be a wrestler, or do you want to see her as a wrestler in AEW?
I do want to see her as a wrestler for sure, but I don't know if she will. She might, like my dad said, she might be more of a Stephanie McMahon, where she does do matches from time to time, but she's mainly like just the character that she was at AEW. She was Chief Brandy. Chief branding.
Mm-hmm. So, what did you think of the 4-way match on AEW, the women's match that Awesome Kong was in and Britt Baker was in?
Yes, I was very glad that Britt Baker won.
You're a Britt Baker fan,
yes,
aren't you?
I think we all did. People don't appreciate Britt Baker, but hey, there's specific people, but hey.
I don't know. All my friends are dead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me too. Same here.
No, but I did. I thought that was a great match. I thought that was,
that was very good. That's why Adam Cole is going to win NXT.
No, you think?
Yes, I do. And you want it. Deep down, you want it.
Yeah, you're right. I want it. Of course, I want it. It's
Adam Cole, baby.
Absolutely, and listen, I like them, and and this is the whatever. And like as fans, we're not supposed to care, but just like I like Becky and Rollins as a little couple, I think that's awesome. I like Britt Baker and Adam Cole. I think it's awesome. I don't know.
Yes,
it's good to see people like Aleister Black and Zelina Vega.
Yes.
It's awesome seeing that.
Yes, and we also need to see Deonna Purrazzo on NXT. I don't know if she's on the normal show or not. But I feel like we also need to see Marty somewhere.
Well, he's in New Japan in the Super Juniors right now and still in Ring of Honor.
He's finding a bunch of small numpties out there. That's what he's doing right now.
He's numpty hunting right now.
That's good. Numpty hunting. He's numpty hunting.
The numpty war.
Yes. Full of numpties.
Hopefully we're not numpties.
So now
we're totally numpties because we're doing a podcast.
That's a good point.
All right, so AJ, so real quick before you go, we'll ask this question. Would you have changed anything about Double or Nothing? Is there anything else you would have changed around, or did you like it? Do you think it was
I don't know. I honestly don't.
So that means it was good.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I liked it for sure. I think maybe I would have, for the Battle Royal, maybe I would have put names on who was coming out so that way it was a lot more clear who was coming out.
Yes.
I was so confused that there's like 55 million people coming out at a time. That was confusing.
I like the concept, though. You're right with that. A little confusing, but I like the concept.
I also didn't know who was getting eliminated because some people had their feet drop the floor, but then they went back in the ring. Like Tommy Dreamer. I was confused with Tommy Dreamer. He kept coming back in the ring after getting what looked like to be eliminated.
I I thought my brain was playing tricks on me when it came to that battle royal because I was trying to catch up with all the eliminations when I was doing the article. Like, man, what the hell's going on here? They never said it was over the top. You mentioned earlier, no graphics for the names and like what groups it is, and this and that. Oh, here's the Hearts. Oh, okay, here's this dude.
Right.
Though I'll admit, though, there was 2 spots in that battle royal that cracked me up. The lit cigarette spot with Joey Janela and Jimmy Havoc, and then the choke slam that Luchasaurus did to Joey Janela on the floor. That was nasty.
Who is Luchasaurus, by the way?
Luchasaurus is dinosaur Lucha.
Well, we obviously know that, but I need to know more about Luchasaurus.
I seen Luchasaurus perform in Lucha Underground before. He's pretty good.
Did he also go by Luchasaurus?
No, he was Vibra.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his name, Vibra. All right, AJ, thank you for coming on. As always, any final words?
Okay, so my final word today is never forget Lacey Evans' name like my dad did.
Sorry. You know, there's just so much. The human brain can only handle so much in one day.
Root canal, I get it. Root canal.
Right.
I'm getting one soon. Just joking. I'm not. I'm getting teeth pulled out.
All right. Well, we're all pulling for you with that. With you getting your teeth pulled out.
It's all of them.
Getting a couple of your baby teeth finally pulled out.
Skip to the end, folks.
There's that.
Skip to the end.
She's really starting to take this character thing into a whole new level, isn't she?
Yeah.
She
is a superstar.
Hey, that's. She told me she's going to start being in character. I guess her character works at McDonald's.
Oh boy.
Better than a librarian, I guess, right?
Peter Avalon or Leva Bates.
Yeah. No. Actually, I like them both. They're both really. I'm kind of entertained by this whole librarian thing with AEW. Yeah, it's Marty's thing.
Yeah. Hey, sooner or later he's gonna be on that roller coaster.
Do you think he's gonna have to drop the villain gimmick? Is that trademarked by Ring of?
No, I hope not. I hope not, because that would suffer him, man. And here's the thing, though. His theme song is so cool. I'm glad that they play it on New Japan shows, too. Mm-hmm. I hope it's something that either he finds a way to buy the song as it is and bring that to AEW, or whoever the AEW music man is there, they got to find something that's similar to that, because that's very essential to his character.
It is my ringtone on my phone right now, and the alarm that wakes me up in the morning. So yes, it's that. I feel there's a lot of entrances that are kind of like, okay, cool. Some are like, yeah, it's just a badass song. His just it just fits. It fits the character. It sets a mood. It gets the crowd engaged. There's just so much to it that I love it, man. I totally agree. It's something we've actually, my friends, my daughter, we've all actually talked about, like what I hope somehow they can just buy it, just straight up buy the track off of Hot Tag Media and kind of get it from them.
Right. All right, folks, we're about to put a ribbon on the bow on this podcast. Any final words, good brother?
No, listen, I hope everyone enjoyed their Memorial Day weekend. That was last week. So thank you to all those who served, to the families that have lost those. We thank you as well. That's it. It's been a good week. It's nice knowing that my body isn't one giant infection anymore. And that's about it.
Folks, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Also, make sure to check out my music page at Josh Lopez Music on Instagram. Add us on Instagram at AddADaily13. Screw Twitter, by the way. Really quick, though, I want to plug this. On our feed, I'm recording an interview tonight with friends of the show, good brother Anthony DeStefano. He reached out to me yesterday, and we're good. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, actually. Ant has made the decision that he's stepping away from the podcasting game. So later on tonight on this feed, I'll be recording an interview with him and talk about that experience, what he learned from it, and why he's stepping away from Rant with Ant. Ant's a really good dude. I appreciate him being a good brother over the years, and it's going to be a fun conversation. I'm humbled for the fact that he wanted me to do this interview with him, and it's a cool way just to promote their final show will be that will be a week from this Saturday. June 8th will be the final episode of Rant with Dance. So I'm very excited to do that, and excited for you guys to listen to it. So it should be a pretty good podcast.
And just like when our DOO decides he doesn't want to show up, I got to call Ant out. You're a punk bitch, Ant. He's trying to tell me I'm the Janetti. Is that what this is? I'm the Janetti of this? I just get tossed to the side. It's all right, because you can give Josh the interview. I still own our birthday, bitch. No, Ant, listen, I love you, brother. I couldn't be happier for you. Couldn't be prouder, more proud of you. I can't wait to see what happens in this next stage of life for you. You're doing the right thing. Get out of this stupid podcasting game, man. I'm really, really, really happy. I'm thrilled for you, man. And yeah, that's it, dude.
All right, folks, for the good brother, the Clown Prince, Anna Daly, I'm Joshy. Shout out to our favorite superstar, Miss AJ Daly, as always, for Through the Eyes of a 9-year-old. I'll let you guys know when we have another edition of Through the Thoughts of Jericho. He told me that he's going to change his song, so he took you guys.
Can he change his face, too?
Oh, God. I don't know if we can do that or not, but he is from another planet. Anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out this Canada. Thank you so much for checking out this week's edition of the Hoots podcast. As always, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, or 5-star rating helps expand the reach of the show. And tell a friend about the Hoots podcast. You truly won't regret it. So for the Cloud Prince, I'm Joshua. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Enjoy NXT TakeOver 25, and we'll talk to you guys next week.